Trust Oldham was set up in 2003 when the club was in administration, and then it was there to raise money as quickly as possible to help save it. But since then, times have changed. And we've got a couple of main objectives. The first being to support the owner, to make owning Oldham Athletic the best success that he can. And then the other side of it is start to look to the future. Well, what about after this owner, and what's the future of the club? And it's building and providing for that as well.
So what do you see the long-term future of Oldham Athletic as? You know, because they obviously got relegated last season. That must have been heartbreaking for yourself. What is the future of Oldham Athletic?
The future of the football club, I think all Oldham fans are at a point at the minute, at this point of the season, mid-season, where we just want to see our club be run solvent, stable, and just have a coherent plan for the rest of the season and next year. Maybe I lack ambition, but I'm not bothered about going up this year. If we stay down, that's fine, because we're in that other league for long enough. But it's just about looking, I think, to give us a secure basis to build on and take it from there. If we get promoted, brilliant. If we don't, for now, I'm just quite happy that we've still got a football club.
So the trust was formed in 2003. Have you been impressed with the reaction to it since it formed?
We've had a bit of an up and down history, a bit of a roller coaster, I think. And when you look back to when we first set up, we raised something like £280,000 in a couple of months. Part of that was through a one-off game we had, and there were other initiatives. And we were really fortunate to be able to secure a shareholding in the football club, which can't be taken away from us, which is great. Since then, I think it's well documented, the ownership of the club was somewhat checkered, and the way the club that had been run was quite suspect. And I think even the present owner now has said that a lot of his time has been taken picking through the way the club's structured, the way that the debts are structured within the club. So what had happened then, there was a period of the trust where there was a lot of firefighting went on, and there were a lot of people who were involved in the trust were quite exhausted by what went on with the previous ownership. So we're at a point now where we all acknowledge we've got to provide for the next step of the future. So perhaps that site, when we were looking back last week at our business plan that we set out originally back in 2004, and we've probably lost sight a little bit of that, but we've got to a point now where we realise that that's got to get back to the forefront again now. We've got a new owner, we've got to put some confidence in him and start to build alongside him.
So what are your views of current owner Abdallah Lemzagan? Because a lot of people think he isn't transparent enough with the fans. He needs to be a bit more clearer with his aims and objectives. What do you think of it?
I think every football fan wants to know the inner workings day in, day out of their football club. I think that's just the nature of being a football fan. I think it's part of modern day social media where you can find out whatever you want. I think the first thing to credit to Abdallah, when you look back to when he took the club over, the leaks have stopped. There was things leaking out into the national press. There was stuff leaking out through players, local press or whatever, and it was becoming quite destructive to the club. And there's been a high staff turnover, and that in part has helped to him get control of that. However, at the same time, that leaves a vacuum of what's actually going on, and with that, people then start to make things up, and you need nothing better than Twitter to make up a good rumour, and for that to then start to detract. So I think that if I was giving Abdallah some advice, it'd be to open up a little bit and not be afraid to share what the plan is. And sometimes if you've not got a plan, that's perfectly fine, because people can help you with that. So I think a little bit more openness would go a long way into just helping get the fans on side with what it is he's trying to achieve.
So picking up on the point of a manager, would you be in support of Paul Scholes if he took over, or do you think Pete Wild's doing a great job at the moment?
Pete Wild's doing a fantastic job. By his own admission, he's only just learning how to run an academy, let alone a first team. Yeah. We're doing no worse than we were under Pete, than we were under Frankie Bunn. Doesn't matter who comes in as manager, you've just got to support him. Whether it's Paul Scholes or anybody else, as long as they're getting the results on the pitch, I couldn't care less who it. Well, I could care less. I'm sure there's some people that'd wind me up, but yeah, it doesn't matter who's managing the team. if they're picking up the points every week and we're playing good football that's fun to watch, I don't think anyone's got issue with that at all.
Brilliant stuff. So Darren, I suppose the future of the club partly relies on new businesses coming on board to help financially support it. Can you tell us a bit about that?
Yeah, so one of the things that we've done is, as well as reach out to fans and get them involved, we started to reach out to local businesses as well. Well, not just local businesses, but anybody who's got a vested interest in Oldham as a town, who wants to see Oldham have a football club as a community asset or something else. So next week we're meeting with Simon Blitz and Danny Gazelle, who former owners of the club. They have a huge interest in the club, given that they own the Oldham Event Centre and the North Stand, and we're looking to see what can we do with them to help the trust, to help them, to support Abdallah, and yeah, so any businesses that have any sort of vested interest in Oldham Athletic, through the website, come and get in touch with us and we'll look at what we can do together. It might be that we refer people in because they want to sponsor the club. We're not trying to take away from Oldham Athletic, we try to do something to help support it.
So you mentioned the gym in the North Stand then. Is that directly attached to the club? Does the club make money from that gym?
They don't, that I'm aware of, but this is one of the things that we're going to go through is just get a bit of transparency for fans next week when we meet with Simon and Danny. But it's my belief that the gym, and we've got the top floor at the minute as well that's undeveloped, they contribute to the funding of the North Stand, for the mortgage on it, for the cost of the maintenance. So that's something that doesn't come back to the club directly. What the club get back directly is the revenue from renting out the boxes and the meals inside them, if that makes sense. But it's complicated, and that's part of the reason why we're trying to meet them, because fans are trying to figure out how this works. So we're going to find out for them.